The Titanic was built in 1,000 days. Why did you drown in 2 hours? 10 April 1912. This was the day when the world, the largest and most expensive Titanic. I was ready for my first trip. The Atlantic Ocean on this day. It was calm and the storm was far away. 1,500 passengers on board. There were thousands and thousands of people. They were standing on the dock to see the start of the Titanic's first voyage. Not the passengers. Not to the thousands who say goodbye. Nor did the crew of the Titanic know what the ship was. Soon he will leave. Then there were 6 shipwrecks. He is the worst of the worst. Welcome to You Will Time. 6 mistakes made by the Titanic's most powerful and luxurious ship. If it doesn't, then it's not because of the crash. Rather, it is the world of the world. Finally, 6. There were mistakes for 40 years. Experience whole Titanic. Leave the captain's 40 years of experience. These mistakes were made by the White Star Line, the company that operates 7 ships. Don't even see them. And these mistakes, Titanic Manufacturing Don't even see Company. Harland and Wolff. More than 500 before the Titanic. Ships were manufactured. The construction of the Titanic began in the 19th century and almost 3 years. And after 2,000 workers, the ship was prepared. The ship was completely ready, but there was still time to test it. The Titan's builders trusted him more. The Titanic made its first test. The run was successful, passing tests all over the world. It was marketed in various newspapers. Which was the head of the sunken Titanic? The ship was never built. First flight to England. It started with Southampton. The day of resurrection is the day of resurrection. Which was the city of New York? Cost of traveling in the economy portion of the Titanic. $30 while traveling in first class was $150. Which today, 340,000 rupees. The result of this marketing. All the tickets were booked and finally that day, when the Titan, starting your first journey, the Mystic number 1 at exactly 12 o'clock in the afternoon. He started his first journey, and then the mistakes of the Titans began to emerge. Captain Smith by the owners. The deadline was, in any case, until April 17. I'm going to New York in 7 days. That's why the captain speeds the ship. It was very fast from the beginning. This was the Titan's first mistake. Instructions given to owners, including captain. Due to pressure in New York, I had to arrive early. This was the Titan's first trip, and if it's New York, if they didn't, then the Titans would have had a lot of damage. There is no car in the world, machine, or then ship. They have several operating procedures. The speed limit is also a part of these procedures. At the beginning of the Titanic, was violated. The ship soon, port of Southampton, so far behind. I could see nothing but the blue sea. 3 days have passed since the Titanic. In addition to short stops in France and islands, better than the last few hours. He was moving to New York. It was the evening of April 11th. There was silence and fog on the sea. Visibility was also very low. The same night, another ship that was just a few hours ahead of the Titanic. Its captain sailed the Titanic to sea on viral, floating rocks, ice. Warned about the bugs. Experts believe this warning at least 6 times, but due to the shortcomings of wireless operators, the most important warnings were missed. Perhaps it was a good thing for them, but that was the other mistake of the Titanic crew. Because the Titanic was the first ship of its kind, and there were many VIPs in it, most of the Titans was busy serving first-class passengers. If these warnings were taken seriously, then the whole thing would be separated. The speed of the Mystic number 3 ship was also higher, and they had a great warning. The Titans are fast, extremely worthless. Fear was growing in the range of the iceberg. The Titanic could have been saved from the accident because the ships were warned. Which reports any iceberg. When they saw the captain, they were ready to see them from a distance. There was nothing there, and it was a telescope. Yes, there were warning signs. Because he doesn't have a telescope, I couldn't see it, and that was the third mistake of the Titanic. Iceberg news, Captain. When the ship's crew reported the news, in front of the ship, the size of a football field is as big as an iceberg. Because it was too late, the iceberg was very close. Mystic number 4. Because most ships in the Atlantic Ocean encounter such icebergs. You have to. Which is a great ship. Perhaps the captain thought so too. The iceberg was reported, including the captain of the ship's engine, ordered to stop. He also ordered the Titans to change course. The captain, of course, tried to avoid the iceberg, but the distance was so low that it was useless to do anything. The iceberg has now collided with the center of the Titanic, but the Titanic still had plenty of hope for survival. I thought it might be icebergs. Do not damage the ship, or the icebergs themselves. And maybe even if the Titanic's fourth mistake, do not show your work. Experts believe that riots on the body of the Titanic. They were not made of steel, but of cast iron, the rivets. Then there are the larger pieces of iron. But since cast iron is softer than steel, this is where the iceberg collided with the body of the Titanic. Then they opened up because of the pressure. And then he was the one who feared Captain Smith. Stack number 5. The Titanic collided with an iceberg as big as a football field, and then the bottom of the ship was filled with water. The entire crew and passengers were warned, and also the owner of the Titanic, Joseph Bruce. The water began to flow in the Titan, but there was still hope of surviving the Titanic, because the Titanic was designed that way. If there are 3 waters in it, it cannot sink. The ship was unfortunate, and then the waters of the 4th floor, and then it was out of hand. The Titanic was slowly sinking into the ocean. Without thinking about the ship, it was time to save the lives of the passengers in it. The captain also issued an emergency alert on the radio until someone comes to help. Until then, the passengers were planned to shift to live boards, but the 5th error showed his work. Yes, the ship had a total of 22 lifeboards. Because of the lack of, only the baseboards were kept. The passengers were 1,500. And the boards were only 20. Mistake number 6. There was chaos everywhere. Everyone wanted to get into the boats. First emergency boat at 12 o'clock. 45 minutes launched into the sea. There was another 6th mistake. The ships are full of chaos. They were unloaded into the sea, which was preferred by most first-class passengers, those who were rich. Then they were taken before. If there were more passengers in the boats, the lives of human beings are less. The ship was sinking rapidly into the sea. Titanic due to short circuit at 2 o'clock. 18 minutes. All the lights. And then the next moment, the ship was divided into 2 parts. The Titanic in the sea. 2 hours to fully immerse. It took 40 minutes. 1,500 people. They died in the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Let me tell you something else about the water temperature. This time, -2. The degree was centigrade. Meaning, if passengers this cold, there was no way to escape in the water. Because man, you can't live more than 30 minutes in such a low temperature. It is said that the number of dead, it was more than 15. For those who knew the crew of the ship, a lot of them, they boarded the ship without a ticket. The largest number of survivors, children and women. The other side was Captain Smith, who saved people all the time, and he was the last man to jump from the sinking ship. Hopefully, you will also like and share this video from ZimTV.